Commissioners at 1 p.m. November 21st, 2014. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Ron.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. Everybody's here. All right. Next thing on the agenda is the agenda. One thing that Samantha probably wasn't here at the time, and you guys decide what you'd like to do, but we always had the courthouse as a standing agenda item, and I see it's not on here. Do you guys, would you like to have that on there as a standing agenda item?
I think so. There's always seems to be some topic to talk about.
I would imagine the reason that, I'm sure that was done before Samantha started working there.
Yeah, until we get something on, we might be able to discuss it without.
I do so.
There's the person we'd ask our questions to, too. All right.
I guess
Anything else?
Do you need those added or not? For the signatures.
We already approved the sales at the land sale.
I'd move to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of new and old courthouse and to leave that as a standing agenda item in the future.
Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes.
Third or fourth paragraph. It says second by Dahl, but I was absent at that meeting. So somebody else seconded. Couldn't have been me.
Is that on the side?
About the fourth paragraph down, Chairman Olson opened the floor to the agenda. It was moved by Stefan and seconded by Dahl, but I was down.
Okay, yep. So I'll fix that one.
The tape, I
It's probably supposed to be Dale instead of
Yeah. Maybe that's.
Yeah.
Paul. Need an E instead of an H.
Which one of you guys had an onion sandwich for lunch?
Not me.
I had a Mexican chimichanga. want me to sit closer? It was good.
Is it lost in your way?
No, I can just smell. Are there any other corrections or changes that need to be made to the meeting minutes from November 7th?
I move to approve the November 7th minutes and dispense with the reading.
Been moved to approve the November 7th meeting minutes by Sean. Is there a second to that motion?
Is that as amended?
As amended, yes.
As amended.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, the November 14th meeting minutes.
Bring the rest of those up.
to approve the November 14th minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Sean Steffen to approve the November 14th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And finally, the November 18th special meeting, which was the disposal of the tax forfeited property.
I'd move to approve the November 18th minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Sean to approve the minutes from the November 18th meeting and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to that motion? Thank you, Ron. Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next are the November bills.
Thank you very much.
Pretty short list.
I just got a question on the Campbell Brothers one. Supplies, I guess it seems like a awful lot for supplies.
Which one?
Campbell Brothers? Is that gravel or something?
I think so.
Oh, it's just listed wrong.
Oh, right there.
It seems to be an ongoing, you see it put off there. I think that's coming over the pit, I think it's gravel, but I'm not sure.
Do you have an invoice here?
Just check it, it might be just a typo.
Is that the right one?
Cubic yards, yeah, that should be gravel, not supplies, I guess.
I think Wayne was,
Or was he,
Ask Wayne if that's categorized correctly.
Okay.
I think he had some budgets that were getting close.
Yeah,
and he
that's
was-
right.
He was trying to.
balance it out?
Okay.
I guess I've asked this one before, the Griggs County Christmas/CA for $1,260.
That was her Christmas fund that she put in, and so then when she
Okay.
retired, then we paid that out to her.
They do payroll deduction.
Yep.
It's their money. So.
Yep.
So then that was Cindy's when she
Okay.
left.
And then the $56 Betty Stabenow special fund.
She went to a pesticide conference, and so
Travel or something.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no more questions on
Mm-hmm. I've moved to approve the November bills and vouchers as presented.
John has moved to approve the November vouchers as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
And second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye.
About a 6
Motion carries. Okay, page 8. State lodging rates is the next thing on the agenda. Apparently they've changed.
the state lodging rates are changing out, is it the west
Yeah.
of the state, and so we just need to get it approved so that if any of us have conferences or anything out there, then it's I guess approved.
It's a higher reimbursement rate.
Just the state rate, because everywhere else it's 74 something, and now it's going up.
I think it's specific to Lake Williston, Minot,
Yep.
Watford City.
Yeah, I think so too.
So most likely won't affect us unless we have to travel out in those regions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is it just informational or you need an approval?
I guess we needed approved, a motion to approve it just in case we do, then it was approved by the board.
Well, I make a motion that we tie our lodging rates to the state approved lodging rates, so we don't have to go through the process every time it changes.
I'll second that.
I think when you guys make reservations you have to tell them you want state rates, don't you?
Yeah. And then it would, I guess at these places it wouldn't be the 74, it would be the
Right.
higher.
Whatever it is, we'll pay the state rate.
Okay.
The company's not supposed to be charged any state taxes or anything either.
No.
Been moved by John, seconded by Ron, to match the county's reimbursement rate with the state reimbursement rate, so that in the event that it changes going forward, it would automatically change. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. All right. Now, Thanksgiving and Christmas, did you have a secret ballot?
No, I just called and asked around, and everybody said that they would take vacation time or no pay time for both of the days. So, and I
Okay.
didn't have anybody say no. So,
Okay.
So is we close the courthouse then the day after Thanksgiving, the day after Christmas?
Well, we'll need some board action to that effect, but I think the motion should be worded such that 5 years from now, if half the employees say, no, we don't want to do that, that it can revert back, you know.
Okay. As a result of the majority vote of the employees as to using vacation days or hours for the day after Thanksgiving and the day after Christmas, we're adopting that policy, which can be changed on a yearly basis dependent on the vote of the employees. The courthouse will be closed on those 2 days until the policy changes.
I think that's probably right because Friday's not always going to be after Christmas every year, so a yearly basis would. I move the second.
Been moved by John and seconded by Sean to allow the courthouse and the county shop, or all county offices to close the day after Thanksgiving and the day after Christmas, as long as a majority of the employees are in favor of taking vacation for that day off.
Or for an unpaid day. They'll do either, whichever they prefer. It's not, well, standing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I don't remember if we've talked about this before. I think we did. Cindy was the weed bookkeeper and the risk manager for the county. And the decision at some point in the past, when she was appointed to those positions, they created a stipend for that particular task aside from the auditor's duties. Now, if you follow the letter of the Century Code, that doesn't necessarily have to be done that way. With that said, today's auditor's salary is the auditor's salary plus these two things. So I think what we're here to decide today is if we want to increase the auditor's salary a little bit and just have those things as part of the auditor's duties, or we can assign those duties and not change the auditor's salary. But I just wanted Samantha to quantify those two things for us so that we can, at least we know what we're acting on.
We pay the employees of the county on a per hour basis. What they do during the time they're here, they should not be compensated for over, and if they have to work after hours, possibly so. But the jobs of the employees aren't so tightly regulated that they can't do other work. And that's my opinion on it. If you're here and there's work to be done and you have time to do it, there shouldn't be any other compensation for it. How we got off down that road, I have no idea.
It's anybody's guess.
Anybody's guess. But this is not
normal
I
hours.
don't know.
this is not a contract form of employment. This, you don't have a specific job and here's what you do. You do what has to be done to maintain functionality in the county. And this is a job of the county, and whether the auditor does it or the treasurer does it or another hired employee does it, it is not something that needs to be pieced out and paid for separately, in my opinion. And for the record, I'm getting a little bit perturbed with every time we have a job that comes up, somebody wants to be paid extra for it when they're doing it during the time we're paying them for anyway. It's got to come to a stop. Where that attitude came from, I don't know, but it's getting to be a little bit aggravating. None of us run our businesses that way. This shouldn't be run that way.
No.
Yeah, I agree, especially on the risk manager. On the weed bookkeeper, didn't we put money in the weed budget for Secretary of Services, or am I wrong?
Well, that's where this money was coming back.
Yeah,
Oh,
these are
okay.
already in the budgets.
So I mean, I'm not, the weed board is a little bit different. I mean, the weed board is different from the auditor's office, and the weed board probably should do their own bookkeeping, is one way of looking at
And
it.
it's in the budget. It's in the budget for the weed board. So that isn't something that has to be taken before us. That's already budgeted money.
Okay.
That's already part of the budget for 2015. How that's spent is up to the people in charge of that budget.
Okay,
Good point.
so Samantha takes that up with the weed board, not the county commissioners.
That makes sense.
Connie?
Aren't you guys the lead board?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
But I don't know what the budget is for it.
No, I don't know.
Probably $102.
I don't know if that's the case. If it's budgeted money, that's fine. But if it's not a budget, because we don't specify
Just because it's
See,
budgeted doesn't mean it has to be
see what your
spent.
what your job assignment is.
Let's see. Page 30.
What page?
30.
Yeah.
Bookkeeping, 1,300.
Ta-da!
1,300.
No.
Mhm.
So it's
So has Cindy, has the auditor done that in the past?
These were things
That's
that
why
were
they're
on.
coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were on top of.
So we haven't
Cindy's.
budgeted for, we haven't budgeted then for the amount that's requested. Yeah, so we haven't budgeted in the auditor's budget for the risk management.
I don't think so.
We do.
Then that one would be that one would just be a function of the auditor's office.
It's in the
Do you know
budget
which budget
someplace.
that's in?
Comes out of insurance reserve.
So, okay. And then that's specifically labor risk management?
In the insurance reserve budget, was it already for risk management? Is that was.
If they're budgeted items, that's fine. If they're not, then they're part of the job.
Because I know Cindy had said that they were budgeted for, and so that if you
Okay.
wanted to combine it all into the one, then we'd have to go and amend budgets, is what she had said, but that's why I was bringing it up.
Yeah.
And I probably was trying to oversimplify this whole thing.
Risk management,
That's like workers' comp.
what budget are we under here now?
Insurance reserve.
Or insurance reserve, yeah.
33.
E3. And I don't think at least under insurance reserve, that's not a budgeted disbursement.
Well, it has been coming out of someplace.
I don't see anything in the insurance reserve.
No.
Where does it come out of, Connie?
It does come out of insurance reserve, I don't know which line item.
Workers' compensation.
Probably, because risk management is only workers' comp.
There's a budgeted item for workers' compensation for $10,000.
I won't say for sure, but I would think that.
There's
If it's a
no,
budgeted item, then it should be paid. If it's out of the, if we're just coming out of the general fund without being budgeted, then it can't be.
It's $2,000, so I presume it's part of one of those line items.
I mean, it can't be the miscellaneous in and out because there's no end to it. The only budgets that are big enough would be it can't be additional premium, it can't be, it's gotta be the worker compensation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look back, if that's where it's coming out of, and if it's budgeted item, then that's acceptable.
Okay. Does that make sense? Sorry.
That's okay.
I told you wrong.
That's okay.
You'll get back to us on where it was coming out of?
I can, yep. If we break it all, then I can go and.
Well, no, it doesn't, I mean, it'll just show a check and we'll go to that.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is a quarterly extension ad.
Okay, so I had a phone call from Lynette, and she said that NDSU pays for 2 ads and we pay for 2 ads. And so I said there should be no problem and to do the ad. And then I got this, and I wasn't entirely sure what was all going on, but this is the email that I got, and that Jill had a few troubles getting the approval to have them ran. So then this is what I got. I didn't think there would be any problems, but I thought I would bring it to your guys' attention that it's in the Century Code and that they will be running these and we'll be getting a bill to pay for this.
I don't remember talking about it even.
I don't remember talking about it either.
I don't think it was before us ever.
We may as well take the blame for it.
Just letting you guys know that there will be we'll be paying for an ad for the extension as
Okay.
well.
Okay, the next thing is Cindy's letter. And Samantha called me when she realized we hadn't accepted Cindy's resignation.
So we can make her come back?
Well, I don't think it quite works that way.
Just for one last meeting.
Well, I guess I'll move we accept her resignation and hope her the best of luck.
Been moved by John to accept Cindy Antone's letter of resignation as the Griggs County Auditor. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Christmas fund.
Christmas fund, I will be paying this out at the end of the month so that the employees have that for Christmas shopping. So just need the approval to do that.
I would make a motion to approve the disbursement of Christmas fund to the employees.
Been moved by Dale to approve the disbursement of the Christmas fund to the county employees. Is there a second to the motion?
Can we say what we want for Christmas? I'd move to second.
I think there's probably some in the bin downstairs. Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron? Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Commissioner salary, what's that on here for?
I got a call from Tammy, wondering if you guys were going to
Tammy who?
Tammy who?
Geiger. Wondering if you guys were still wanting to not get paid, and wondering for you two if they should be paying you for being on the board.
For office or meetings?
Yep.
Why
They
did-
said that she said that you guys were going to review it after a year and that I should bring it up, so.
We budgeted 0 for the commissioner's salary.
Okay.
I think we took action on this through the budget process, and we reset the commissioner's salaries at 0, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I believe
If we haven't done that, we should
I move that we reset that we
set the
set the
commissioner.
commissioner's salary and at 0 for the following year, 2015.
Been moved by John to set the commissioner's salary at 0 for 2015. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ron. They're kind of quiet in there. Seconded by Ron. Is there any
Just
discussion?
observing.
Is there any discussion?
You guys are going way over my head.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Yeah.
What was that?
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Troy, I think Tammy's big question though was whether social services is
For the
supposed to
meeting,
pay
yeah.
the commissioners
Like
for
a
those meetings.
Oh,
No,
For social service meetings. Okay.
not me.
No. But I guess we can talk next week at our meeting.
Kelly.
Kelly is at a meeting, but she will be back. So we can just.
North Dakota Newspaper Association. What are they scolding us or what's that do?
Cindy said that you had sent it to the paper, John.
I sent what?
That you sent this to the paper. One in.
That extension ad? Is it the one on the following page there? Or what?
Maybe I charged one of my advertisements today.
Where?
Page 13.
Is page 14 what?
No, I never sent it to the paper. They called me and I said, call Cindy and see if that was acceptable.
Oh, because she said to bring it up at the meeting because you had sent it to the paper. Or
No, I said bring it up at the meeting. I can't make a decision.
Oh, okay. So this was that.
No. No.
What was the ad for?
I don't know.
Well, it was
Oh,
this ad.
captions. So it must be this ad then. right?
So is this the extension ad?
Well, it says under the caption on the bill, it says family and consumer science. And then on the back, that's what the heading is.
Yeah, but it says 3-inch column by 10 inches. I can't make that fit in 10 inches by 3.
But yeah, Catherine called me and specifically
No, it's
said that
3
had to
columns
be
wide.
brought-
Oh, 3 columns.
So that's-
I wasn't entirely
Isn't it?
sure what this
This would
was
be-
all about, so
Mm,
I was
okay.
like, I'll just bring it to you guys. And hopefully you knew what.
Why would we want to advertise it?
Yeah, well, I specifically told her that we couldn't make that. I can't make that decision and we couldn't get permission. I don't know. But she did call me, the paper called me and asked me whether or not they could run this ad.
You mean
Catherine.
Finley?
Yeah, I don't know where she's from. She specifically called and asked and wanted to know if she can run this ad. I said, I can't make that decision. Call Cindy, have to put it on the agenda for the paper, for the meeting, and the commission will have to make that decision.
So it hasn't been in the paper.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't recall seeing it.
I haven't.
I think that's what this is about. I think they're asking permission to run this ad. They better do, because I told them they couldn't. So they must be compliant with what I told them they had to do.
Okay.
Is the way I understand this.
Okay.
Is this tied to the thing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Is that the ad that they were discussing that we're supposed to?
It's not the quarterly report.
I don't think so.
That's not.
I don't know.
Because the way it sounded to me is they ran the one.
Advertising for employment was,
Yeah, no, I think this ad here is the one relating to the email, because it even says the size, approximately 3 by 10.
That's what this is.
Yeah, and it says describing the three publications available from the Cooperative Extension Service of North Dakota. So that's what this is.
Oh, okay.
So this email pertains to this ad.
Well, it says on here that it's Friday, November 21st, which is today. So it may have come out in today's paper, since they're mentioning that November 21st.
So this is part of the quarterly advertising?
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen the paper yet.
I bet you the paper already knew that we needed to do that, and they were just trying to make sure that, they're looking for ad revenue too.
Well, if that's the case, we already agreed to it on this page, on page 10, and now we're dealing with it, now we're seeing what we agreed to on page 14.
right.
Yeah, this is what it looks like to me, but I don't know.
Well, if it happens, it'd come through the extensions budget, right? Correct.
Yeah.
If somebody at paper, we could find out.
Try not to.
Okay. So that must be, we must have done that already.
I think so. Okay, it looks like Ron Dahl has been on the South Central Human Service Center Advisory Council for 1 year, coming December 31st. So,
And then it says,
apparently we need to re-up.
well,
him.
then it says they want us to reappoint them.
Right.
You want to be on there again, Ron?
Yeah, it's fine.
I move we recommend or reappoint Ron to the South Central Human Service Center Advisory Council. It'll take place January 1st, 2015. For 1 year.
Been moved by John to reappoint Ron to the South Central Human Service Center Advisory Council. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll move the second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Cops grant. Bob's not here. Signatures on checks. You know what that is?
That's me.
Hi.
When we need to take Cindy's name off the bank accounts and
Yep.
put Sam on.
Yep.
And they always ask for a copy of the minutes, so they want a motion that you approve. It would be to approve that Samantha, myself, and Christie can sign the checks.
So we need to revise the signature cards at the banks that the county holds, has accounts in, to read Samantha, Connie, and Christie Ronigan.
Yeah, I move that we revise the signature cards at all banks involved to include Samantha, Connie, and Christie, removing Cindy's name.
Been moved by John to revise the signature cards at the banks the county does business with. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And Bob wasn't gonna be here today to talk about the cops grant.
Didn't he ask us to put it off one meeting so he could be here today?
Twice.
I have a folder for the DOT.
Well, we're not gonna take action on it. We don't know.
What are we going to talk about?
What's that?
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
we don't even-
I'm against it. It costs us $1.64 for every dollar we take. I'm not in favor of it. It seems useless to me that we have to pay $1.64 to accept a dollar. I think these grants, unless they're a definite benefit, I think are just costing us money.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to take action today or wait for Bob to get here. I guess it's your decision.
It's not my decision, buddy. It's up to you guys.
Okay.
No, I'm fine with waiting for Bob, but again, it's not gonna change my opinion on it.
I'd put money on that. Nevertheless, do you guys want to table this until the next meeting, or do you want to talk about it and make a decision today.
Well, I suppose if we did that, then we're at the point of looking for two. Aren't we in our current situation too?
Yeah, I think one of the deputies is leaving after the first of the year, I think. Isn't that what he told
So
us?
this one
That's what I.
gone.
Well, that's not gonna make any difference.
No, the cops.
As far as the cops grant, the cops grant will have to be to add a third deputy. That's the only way we're gonna be able to utilize that.
Right.
So the replacement of the two deputies is irrelevant
to the cops grant, right? Or is it usable?
Cops grant would keep us at 3 deputies, I think.
Hmm?
The cops grant would keep us at 3 deputies.
It would, because in the 2015 budget, we only budgeted for two.
Two, yeah.
So that's why the cops grant would be available. If we would have budgeted for 3 deputies in 2015, we would have had to add a 4th in order to utilize the cops grant.
Right.
But being we budgeted for 2, we can use the cops grant
For the
to
third.
maintain the 3rd deputy. Keeping in mind that originally when the cops grant came into existence, we had 2 deputies and we split one with Steele County.
And that
And
kept
2 and a half, and then when it was supposed to go away, then we just added on. So we added on.
Well, I think if you go back far enough, I think the cities in the county picked up a deputy. We had a deputy, and the cops grant was a shared deputy between Griggs and Steele County.
Right, but then when that cops grant quit,
we took
instead
it
of,
all.
and we took over Steele County's half also.
Yep.
Yeah.
We gained a deputy in
Yeah.
2004, a half a deputy in 2014.
And in light of the fact that we don't have any indication from Cooperstown as their participation in the law enforcement and Griggs, for the $60,000, it doesn't make much sense that Griggs County should have to step up and now pay another $84,000.
The city hasn't come to a determination of what their involvement's going to be yet.
Well, the lack of determination probably is a determination. Is all you can take that. I mean, if you ask somebody if they want a drink of water and they don't take a drink of water, they must not want it. So
I thought they were still deliberating, that's all. I don't either. Paul,
There's just been a lot of discussion at our meetings about it and kind of tabled it off because there's some of them that aren't in favor of it, some of them are, so we haven't came to a vote yet on that.
then given the fact that evidently our sheriff isn't too concerned about it, he's not here again to talk about it. I don't know. Again, you guys, you know what my vote is, and so it's up to you guys to decide where we go with this thing.
I guess in my head, it would, if the city hasn't come to a decision yet, maybe we should talk about it again at the next meeting. Because if they do approve it, then they will expect additional resources to be directed within the city, which will affect the needs from a countywide deputy standpoint. In theory, they're going to pay more attention to the city if the city is providing the funding for one of those positions.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but I mean, just because the city approves it doesn't mean we have to accept it. We're not obligated by the city
Decision to accept.
decision. We're not obligated to provide that service.
No.
No, but if we keep the cops grant on the table, then we will have the ability to provide that service. I agree.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I move to table the COPS grant to the next.
Okay, Dale moved to table.
I'll second that.
Dale, been moved and seconded the table the cops grant until the next meeting. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Troy, so is there a deadline on that grant then? You have to,
I don't know, we've never got a straight answer out of Bob.
I don't think he knew. He said it was just open. And,
I don't know is a straight answer though.
no, I don't know. No, I don't know.
You have an idea.
No. And given Griggs County circumstance, where we're only gonna have to be hiring 2 deputies, I think
Let alone
let alone 3, I think it's a stretch to even go down that road. But that's me.
If we don't apply for the cops grant, we probably only have to hire 1. Because I don't think Wesley's leaving. It's Justin, right?
Yeah.
And we have budgeted for 2.
We have budget for 2.
His house is for sale.
That's, yeah. That was what I was basing it on. It looks like he's downsizing his house maybe.
I don't know. I think something about poor workmanship on that addition. Okay. The next thing on the agenda is that letter that I received this email, I guess. Or no, I didn't. The letter from the Building Authorities Council to Scott Landa. Apparently their wishes are to mediate rather than litigate also. So basically we've taken the same approach. Now along those lines, have you sent them some money since the last time we met?
We've sent them what the building authority, or what the county gave the building authority.
The
That was sent
122.
to them, yeah, the 122.
So of that 710,000, they've received half of that?
514,000 approximately.
Is that about right?
I don't know.
Well, 384 and then the 120, so approximately that 500.
So the building authority has enough money in their checking account to make it a whole.
Very, very close and very, yeah, and so we could avoid all of this.
Litigation, mitigation, and any other further legal expenses if they wanted to.
We could close out the contract.
I thought the numbers were a little bit different though. I thought we'd send them 250,000, then we send them that 122, and that totals up to 373. I might be wrong.
That's what I had in my head too.
Yeah.
But
Nevertheless, with the next payment, whatever it might be,
And the cash there.
and the cash on hand, we could effectively close out this argument with construction engineers, and then we could move forward on a separate basis, the building authority and the county, and finish this thing. Why they're dragging their feet and not paying that $200,000 that they have on hand, you can only come to a couple conclusions. First, it's out of spite for some reason. Secondly, is they have some financial interest in the building authority, in the project. Why else would they not pay that? There's no other reason that they're holding on to that money, other than, again, Is there a financial benefit for them to hang on to that money personally? And pretty soon you have to start coming to that conclusion that there's some outside factor, because it's not in the best interest of the building authority or the county or the citizens of Griggs County for them to be sitting on that money.
I don't get it.
So the quicker that we get construction engineers out of this equation, we can restructure this and get this thing back
I'll
online.
move forward.
But they are being the obstructionists here by not paying that. So I don't know what we do about that, but
It's not
that's
their-
what's holding this project up.
Not their money.
The problem with that is that to resolve this in the court system will drag this out far longer than if we can just work out some agreement with them just to pay it. Their whole premise during this, from the time they were recalled, was we were supposed to be the county on the board, and they didn't want nothing to do with it. What has changed that all of a sudden they are so concerned about being in charge of this project? And there's some conclusions you can come to, and none of them are for the benefit of the citizens of Griggs County. So I think this needs some pressure from the people, not us, but I think some of the other people that are involved in this need to sit down and have a look at this and say, this is of no purpose whatsoever. Pay the money, let's get this project back online.
You haven't had any more reimbursements.
No,
Have you heard any? Have you heard anything from them?
no. Bob and I sent in the last payment that you made as a reimbursement request to them again. For 5 and 6, 6 and 7. Can't remember. 5, 6, and 7, I think. So that they've got more to look at, but they haven't requested anything newer. I should take that back. Debbie had requested, what did she send? Something back up on pay request number 4. So I resent it. But haven't heard anything.
Okay. Anything else on that? I guess I kind of skipped ahead to the courthouse. Just because it kind of fit in there. We have 2 agenda items left, the county library and Kelly. Was somebody coming from the library, or what's the deal?
I'm on the library board, and so I'd like to briefly explain what was going on there.
Okay.
On page 23, you see there were the first 3 offers, investor offers 1, 2, and 3. I believe that was put together by Piper Realty as an option, and then local offer 1 and 2 was from a local fellow, but it was Zeke Grumman. Was willing to finance that portion of it. They didn't like any of those, so the next one down is to make their own offer of $150,000, taking all of the ready cash and using some of the 2015 funds on hand, which would be replaced with major funding raising efforts. And it says ready cash is listed below, but it's really on the next page, on page 24. They listed 6 CDs, I think, that total up to $134,000. So the plan was to cash in those CDs, and then back on page 23, there is some money in their operating budget in a account as citizens, and they would use $16,000 of their operating budget. That motion was passed, and then subsequently we discovered that wasn't legal. the page on the North Dakota Century Code 403805, I mean, it very explicitly says the board of directors, with the approval of the city or county governing body, may do it. And honestly, none of us were aware that it had to be approved by both the city government and the county government before we can proceed. And it's also spelled out there that there has to be a public meeting before either one of us could approve it. And I talked real briefly with Paul, about having a joint, well, we have separate advertisements, but that the public meeting could probably be a joint public meeting with the city and county there. Bonnie's thoughts were that she would like to make, it's our meeting and not her meeting, but she is ready to make a presentation of the proposal and to answer any questions at that meeting. And then from there, and I know you did meet on it last night, Paul, maybe you can update us a little bit.
Yeah, we had a special meeting about it just to talk a little bit about it after Ron talked to me yesterday, and there was just a lot of concerns last night because we didn't have any numbers, which you guys are talking right now. A lot of people were wondering on our board too, how much is the library really being used, and that was a big thing. Another thing was for what their utilities were at that Bank of the West are going to cost. The old fuel oil furnaces in there, correct? To get that probably changed over to power. I mean, I think all their utilities are going to be a lot higher over there too.
Plus remodeling,
Different things.
upgrading furnace.
I don't see how that building can be operated under the current funding of the library, which will mean there will have to be a mill increase, which will mean it needs to go back to the taxpayers, which means I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, just
They're putting my blessing on this thing at all. I mean, there's no way.
yeah, their thoughts were, and it's probably not right, but that they would have major fundraising efforts and not need to increase the mill levy. I'm not saying that's right or I agree with it, but their thoughts were.
But holy
So that's
cow,
after the fact of buying it? Then they're gonna have
Yes.
fundraisers?
Yes.
forever is a long time, Ron.
Yes, it is.
Almost double their space, their, like Paul says, their utility costs are gonna be significantly more. And that's,
Well, just the main floor would more than double the space they have now. I mean, that doesn't even count the basement.
What is that building, 12,000 square feet?
That, yeah.
Well, rather than shoot it down without giving them a chance, it basically says, prior to any actions on such proposals, don't you think the first step would be have them propose a detailed plan on what they want to do?
Pro forma, moving forward.
Yeah, from here, I mean, if,
I
just the fact that they want to do it, we can't act on that. We need to have a detailed plan. Well, what's it going to cost? Will this fit your budget? Will we need to go to the voters to increase the mill levy? Is the building structurally able to house a library? That's not a cement floor. That's a basement underneath that thing. Can it structurally have a library?
All the weight.
Yeah, there's really not enough information just in the request to have a public meeting to even make any kind of decision on which way to move on this thing.
agree with you. No, I mean, I was
Yeah.
giving my
Yeah,
off the cuff
yeah.
feelings.
Is there anything
on
wrong with the
operating
current
costs.
building there?
I think they just need some more room and make the aisles a little bit bigger for handicap and not have the shelves be up so high is what I've understood from behind when she first talked to me about it. The council we were gonna ask Bonnie if we could meet with her Monday morning at 7:30 if she could do a presentation of numbers and really what their plans are for the council, so we kinda had more of an idea. I haven't gotten a hold of her yet today to see if that
Does the
works.
city own the current library?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
That's in the agreement that the city will own the.
Then who would own the new one?
Well, the city would own the new one.
Well, the city would own the.
Then who would own the current one?
Well, the city would own the current one.
Well, the city would own the.
Yeah.
Well, all these are just, this isn't something that can be done on a
Whim here.
whim. I mean, the quickest this could be done would be 2016. Because we have to go to the voters to get permission to raise the mills, and we can't raise the mills for 2015, that's a set budget. So this is at least a year away, a year and a half away. This can't be a whim. Willing to look at it, but the people that are asking for this need to realize that this is a long-term project. Government shouldn't act on a whim, because we end up with a situation like we're dealing with right here with this courthouse.
Right.
So I don't think we can shoot it down. I think we need to listen to them, but I think they need to understand that this can't be done in a real fast manner.
Don't we almost need like a 10-year pro forma though? To see what this looks like going down the road?
The structure isn't even in place to allow the library boards to own a building yet. We still have the structure for the mill levy for the county portion of this was the bookmobile that we just added 2 mills onto. And the city, I'm not really clear on what they have. If they have a dedicated mill levy to this, or they just assign it a yearly fee. But the structure isn't in place according to the Century Code to even allow the library to own a building. And there is a whole Century Code 4038 that deals with public libraries and how this is supposed to go. So this will involve a detailed examination by the state's attorney or somebody to make sure that, first of all, the structure's in place even to do this.
Doesn't it need approval from the state library board too?
Guidance by the state library
Guidance,
board.
okay.
But nevertheless, Paul's correct in the thinking that the library only had $3,800 appropriated for utilities, $3,000 appropriated for utilities in the 2015 budget.
That sounds like about 2-3 months.
We saw that just the utilities was $19,000
A year.
a year. The taxes on there are $11,000, so there's a $27,000 shortfall right there. The maintenance on it,
They won't pay taxes though. They're tax exempt.
Somebody's gonna pay them.
Well, I know, but not the library. It doesn't have to come out of the library. They'll get the tax exempt. I mean, I'm just.
But
So then Paul will have to either cut his budget or increase the taxes on the people in town.
the
The taxpayers still pay.
the effect that someone gonna pay the taxes, and
And if Paul's
Inclusive-
collecting $11,000 more than he needs now, he should lower them.
yeah,
I mean, come on.
yeah. I mean, someone's gonna pay the taxpayers, and it's not too hard to figure out who's gonna pay it because their names are the taxpayers. So it's gonna take it just because the library doesn't pay it, it's still gonna come out of the city fund. It's still gonna be paid. So again, it's a doable thing. Whether I agree with it, you agree with it, or just disagree with it, the voters have a chance to give us the final word on this, but we need to be able to present to them a logical plan so they know what they're getting into,
And we don't have that.
and we don't have that. And we can't have that in the spur of the moment. That's at the least this thing is 2016. So if the library really wants to do this, they need to somehow tie that building up without using public funds via a concerned citizen that would go buy it for them and hold it in escrow, with no promise of purchase.
Nancy had some papers on, I think you'd emailed them to her yesterday late in the afternoon. Was that about that? Would there have to be another separate board set up and all the funds would have to be into that? Kind of almost like what happened here, almost to a point.
I can explain
It's
a little bit.
illegal, but
Yeah.
it sounds not so great against that.
If this was set up correctly as a joint library, county city library, there would be a treasurer appointed for the joint board, and then the joint board the bills would be paid via the treasurer, and then each year the library board would supply to the participating municipality and county a detailed description, an audited description of what was paid out. If they decide to go ahead with the building fund, then the monies for the building have to be transferred into a separate building fund out of the general library fund, and they can never go back there again. So all the money has to be put aside ahead of time.
Yeah, that's what she agreed.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the participating government entities need to cement the mill levy in order to maintain that, right? And at a minimum, that has to be a 5-year commitment. And if you want to dissolve the joint library board or joint ownership of it, it takes a 2-year notice to do that. So this is a long-term deal, but it's a long-term deal on the front end because it appears like there's not enough money to fund it, and you can't
raise taxes that fast.
You can't raise taxes, and of course, from my view, you can't raise taxes unless the people consent to that. So, again, it may be an opportunity lost, but government works this way for a reason. But I mean, I'm willing to look at it if they want to come before the board next and start the process, but it's...
Could be some proposed plan.
It isn't put an ad in the paper this week and give them permission the following week. That just can't happen.
Yeah, I believe they do want to start that process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she was hoping to have the ad in the paper next week,
Yeah,
and
we
then
just-
have a meeting like, what's the 4th, I think.
Can't happen that fast.
Can't happen that
No
fast.
way.
Right? I mean, Lonnie's out, I think Lonnie will be out.
I hope they're not making a decision based on the information we have in front of us today, because it's fairly inadequate to make that long-term decision.
The ad won't go in the paper until after the citizens have given approval for the raise in taxes. The ad in the paper is a year away.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that our next meeting is December 5th. I believe Bonnie's gonna be out of town on that, for her son's deployment on December 5th and possibly on 19th. But at some point I'll ask if I can have the library come here and present what they want to do, and then we can tell them about the pro forma and everything else that they've got to do.
But obtain funding is, it seems we're putting the cart before the horse. Before they can even make a decision on whether or not they can buy that, they need to have permission from the citizens to fund it. So unless, the first thing to do would be to pass a resolution, get a resolution signed by 25% of the residents of Griggs County to put this on the ballot.
Yeah, and that's where they want to proceed, however they have to proceed.
Well, that would be-
If that's how they have to proceed, that's probably what they.
I know another group that did that just not that long ago,
Yeah. But
and I'm not gonna be one of them.
But because we can't give authority to build it until we can fund it.
No, but I mean, I'm saying they have every right to try to raise 25% of the signatures.
Absolutely.
We can't,
We already have one.
we can't say no to that.
No.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
saying no.
okay, I agree, we're all in agreement.
No, that's the way the system works, and I'm good with that.
So-
But see, we can't say, yes, go ahead and buy it, because ultimately, we're responsible, the citizens are responsible for maintaining it.
Yeah, well, they will need guidance, they need guidance on how to proceed, and that's where they, I'm not.
The first step would be to get a raise in the mills so that they have the money to
Well,
fund it.
it seemed like a plan would be the best first step, to see what kind of numbers we're talking about.
Right.
And then see,
Well, you can't ask the citizens for more funding if you don't know how much funding you're gonna need.
that's kind of,
That's my whole thing. I mean, that's gotta be step one. And to me, if you look at the 2 mills that was in place and the 2 additional mills, that was to buy books. That wasn't to buy buildings.
The funding in place right now is not in place correctly.
So, to me, that should be cleaned up in this whole, if this can of worms gets opened up, it needs to get fixed at the same time.
But
Here's,
right now, what we're saying is though that you guys have the say and the city has the say whether or not they can buy that building, correct?
no,
No?
we can't authorize buying that building unless we can guarantee that we can pay for the funding of it.
Right.
And we can't guarantee that unless we
'Cause
know
we
what
can't
the
raise
cost is gonna
mills.
be.
But
We can't
right
raise
now,
mills.
if they say they got 150,000, if somebody comes and says, I'll buy that building for you, can they buy that building then?
No.
They cannot, okay.
No, it
So they
says it
cannot
has,
start even making a payment towards this guy if he needs his money or want a payment right away. They cannot do any of that either, right?
no, the century code is very,
Yeah.
it's very straightforward on that. You put it in here, didn't you, Ron?
Yes, it's page 22.
It's probably the same stuff you sent.
Yes, it is, yeah.
It's pretty, it says, I don't know what it says.
I kinda thought Bonnie was gonna be here today.
It says the board of
Is that right there?
directors, with the approval of the city or county governing body,
Yeah.
may build, lease purchase, or purchase.
Yeah, so I mean, the board, yeah. So they can't even enter into a lease agreement without the approval of the governing body. But as you look at this, it isn't even set up correctly as far as the governing bodies go. This has never been, the mills are for the bookmobile. And they realized, I was just reading this and it kind of struck me. You look at page 21. At the city request line about bookmobile in point 9 should be changed, and it should have been done in 2011. They realized that their funding wasn't correct either, but they never even changed the agreement.
But point 10 has a bookmobile in it too, they didn't take that out.
I know, so nevertheless, no matter what they do, we need to redo this, because right now we're levying a tax for something that isn't there.
That's what the board approved, John. You can't just decide it's for something else now.
Right. But so either we're levying a tax for the bookmobile, and the bookmobile's gone. That doesn't mean you get to take that tax and use it for something else.
That's what's happening.
I know.
Yeah, that's on page 19.
Yeah, I
The
know.
two mills, yeah, for the book mill.
So regardless, we have to fix this, whether they buy the new bank or not. This has to be fixed.
So you're gonna propose that it goes on the ballot in 2016 then?
Well, I don't know if I am, but I'm sure some citizen that isn't in agreement with what's going on here will probably do that. If you're being taxed for something that you didn't agree with, and I'm sure there's somebody out there, you would certainly raise that point. See, all this did now was this just brought this to a head now.
Yeah, it's been going along.
Yeah.
Was there a new contract, Sam, did you find that supposedly there was a contract from the library to the city and that was brought up here and to get signed and did you never call and did Bonnie talk to you about looking for one?
I thought that was this contract.
Is that the latest one in 2011?
It's signed by Danny Bakken in 03. And I think that's the one that goes another 5 years automatically.
Yeah, that's how I read that thing.
It says renewed in 2008.
Yeah, and I imagine it was renewed in 2008. I don't recall it being renewed in 2013. Well, I guess it didn't have to be. It renewed automatically in 2013, since nobody protested it.
The problem with that contract is neither the city nor the county had correctly set up the library board for the city and the county. It was never, all that was ever voted on was the bookmobile. So you can't comply with the century code if you're not in compliance with the specifications in order to comply with the century code. That's the mess that I see, and Jamie will have to look at that, but nevertheless, this whole thing is going to have to get fixed now, whether they buy that building or not. It's got to get fixed.
Yeah, I agree.
You know.
So we're at a standstill right now, right? Correct.
Well, I don't know what else we can do, Paul.
Okay.
I mean, we don't even we don't really even know the details of what they're proposing right now. I mean,
We just more or less probably need to tell Lonnie we just can't get this in the paper next week. We need to. It's going to be a
No
while
way.
before we can get
no
anything.
way.
They don't even have a proposal yet.
And I'll probably work with Bonnie.
I
on
can't
developing
believe that the
proposal.
library has $130,000 in CDs that they've collected taxpayers from
They don't.
money from the taxpayers.
Some's some must have been gifted to them.
They got some estates over there, so they gave them everything. So.
Is it yours?
Yep.
They don't. If you, I'm just looking at this real quick. If you go to page,
24. Yeah. One's a Nielsen estate.
the $30,000, the designated savings, I don't know where that, I don't know where that, the $30,000 carryover, they're talking about, I presume, what's left in the 2014 budget,
That's what I'm guessing.
as of now.
That's not carryover.
No, of course not. Well, of course, carryover in a budget doesn't get to be pulled out of the budget, and any carryover is just that, it goes
Towards the next year's. Yeah.
So I don't think, and then part of the money they were going to use for the offer was taking out of next year's budget.
Right.
So they were going to take $16,000 out of there, plus the $30,000 that we can see right away that it would cost to operate it. So that budget then was diminished to half of what it normally was. So it's going to take, except it's not undoable, but it's going to take going before the voters and asking what they think. So they add the paper to either way.
Okay. Are we done with that topic?
Well, I think so. I mean, Bonnie's gonna meet with you on Monday or
Well,
something.
we just wanted to know some more numbers, but after listening to you guys, it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter, I don't think, right now to us.
Yeah.
Well, unless they want
Well,
to
we
get
still
started.
need to know a number.
Unless they want to get started on it. They said the quickest that Griggs County could have funding available for this would be January 1st, 2016.
At the blessing of the taxpayers.
Absolutely, with the blessing of the taxpayers.
That would take a special election.
It would. There's provisions in that. It could be either done by a ballot initiative, or the commission could set a special election. So there's provisions to do it. It's all doable, but it isn't doable between us 5 people here.
And not by next week.
Not, and certainly not by next week.
I mean, from what I'm hearing, I should tell Bonnie that she should start working on a more detailed proposal with more detailed numbers, and more detailed cost estimates of utilities and remodeling costs. If she wants to proceed, that should be the next step. And
Yeah, because it has to be accurate. There has to be a way of assuring that if the library owns that and public funding is the one that operates it, that there's enough public funding there to maintain it.
And then concurrently with that, Jamie could advise us on the things that are wrong right now and that need to be corrected from a legal
Yeah.
standpoint.
Well, and John had a good point too about the structure of the facility.
Yeah, that would have to be part of what we do.
It probably is, but I mean, we should
Well,
have some guarantee of
yeah.
it before.
Ron would know, Ron was
Oh,
on
sure,
record,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about putting in the plenimeters, but we have no estimate for how much it would cost to put in electric plenimeters, and we need to do more of that and get the pro forma working and
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, I'm not for or against it. It's just, it has to be on the track.
Okay. Kelly. If you'd have been a half hour later, you'd missed us.
Sorry. Sorry for you. Well, I've been thinking about the offices, and in light of losing a staff member, I would like to close the clerk's office and shift everything over into the recorder's office and just work out of that office instead of the
constant running back and forth. Still keep, the clerks open, but just shifting all the services just from one room. Just make it easier. Like I said, I don't have recorder stuff on the clerk side, I don't have clerk stuff on the recorder side, and it just makes sense to just put it all in one room. Anyways, Bob caught wind that I was thinking about doing that, so he just asked that this is just some proposed office space change, and I think he talked to somebody. Did he talk to you? Okay. Yeah, so he just asked that I hand these out. What you guys determine to do with that space, fine by me. I can shut the vault. Nobody will have access through that vault.
So you can access that vault from both offices?
You can. Yep. But I would just, I think, do we have a combination for that? I imagine somewhere, but we can just lock that, because really the only person that's supposed to have access to that is just the clerk of court and staff, so no one needs to go in there. So, like I said, I would have to move the counter. That counter is just freestanding there, except for the door swing is attached to the wall, so we would just have to move that over to the recorder side. Other than that, there really wouldn't be any. Move a few computers. Other than that, I don't know what he's proposing to put who or where or what, but he just asked that I hand it out, and he did say that he talked to somebody about that. So, and like I said, it makes sense just to do it on the recorder side, because I have to have access. The public has to have access to that recorder's vault. So, just logistically makes sense to do this.
I don't understand the drawing yet, if I can ask a few questions. You have coal down here. That's
wait, what's that one? That's the only.
Oh, I have the wrong one.
Yeah, no, I think he had two different things.
I'm looking at the basement.
Sorry, I have this one.
Yep.
We need that
I don't know
one.
what I'm doing here.
Oh.
Yeah. There's two pages.
That's what I was looking at.
All right.
There's the top and bottom.
I need a basement.
You need a basement? That's my only basement.
Yeah, upstairs. Sorry about that.
And to be honest, I was wondering how Bob was willing to go to the basement.
Sorry.
I think you have
Two-page
basements.
document.
I got some
Okay.
basements.
We need an upstairs.
So here's the upstairs. So this
You
is
need an upstairs.
this is how it is as it sits. Yeah. So this is all the space. All the way down here is all the space on this second floor that we occupied. So. Like I said, you can see that you can get to this vault from both ends, and we would just shut that. So I would have to find a combo for that, but I'm sure I can find a combination somewhere for that.
Was it open now?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
open
you
because
can just have a locksmith.
I just go back and forth,
Open it up.
between the offices. So,
You don't lock that?
well, at night we shut it, but it's not.
You don't spin the dial?
Yes, it's locked at night. The offices are locked at night. The vaults are locked.
Evidently not, because if you don't know the combination, you only lock it once.
We lock the office and shut the vaults every night. We do shut the vaults every night.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yes, John, we lock the vaults.
No.
I can't wait for this side. So, have that issue. I
Yep.
guess I.
Are you in agreement with that? I mean,
Minimal.
that's, you want to
This is my
define it?
decision.
Okay.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I can't be running. I do it once a week right now when there's just two of us, and it's madness running back and forth. I would have to do it 5 days a week, and it helps for cross training if everybody's in one room and people come in and just. But like I said, I do have to have that counter, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue to move that over.
Have you decided on the staffing on how you're going to do that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, but I haven't told the person yet, so.
Okay.
Yep. So, the next issue is I did get the audio from your meeting, like you
Mhm.
said that I should do, and I did listen to that. And they did not make a motion at that time to move me to
What was the date in that audio?
May 7th, 2013. And the audio where Jan started her thing was at 2:18. So what they had determined at that time was they were going to put it in the motion to do 100% after the election. Then they asked when election was, and it was November of this year, and the office doesn't take place till January. So their final decision was moving me to the 100% at this year. So she was making $19.59 an hour at that time. So it would be $1.34 an hour to push me to that 100%. They didn't make that decision at that time because it didn't affect it that year at all. But you're right, and having, my memory did not serve me exactly correctly, so it was good that I listened to that, so.
I know we've discussed this issue many times in this room. And our approach has been somewhat different than previous county commissioners. That if a person is elected to a position, they're expected to perform the duties of the position, and that the position commands a certain wage, and that is what it is, rather than doing this probationary thing like you're hiring an apprentice or something in a position that serves at your will instead of the will of the people. So knowing that you were started at a lesser salary than Jan was, do you have like the county statistics or something? I mean, there must be other counties of similar size that we can compare it to, or
I guess I didn't look
you
into
didn't,
that.
you didn't look at that?
No, I didn't. I just,
The North Dakota, it's on that one website.
Yeah, I didn't look at it.
Yeah, I haven't looked
I
at it.
haven't looked at it yet.
So you're proposing that your salary be changed to 100% of what Jan's was when she retired?
yep,
That's what you're asking?
yes, yep. It'd be $1.34 increase an hour.
Is there room in the budget to do that, or would that take an amendment to the budget?
Well, I think we would have to definitely amend the. There's a lot of room on the clerk's side of the budget. There's quite a bit. If we can throw that word around yet, amending the budget, but it's quite a few thousand.
It's $2,787 a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think on the clerk side we're quite a bit under. The contract is it 28,000?
How much?
21 a year. I think they reimburse. What is whatever 2286 times 12 is a month. I figured that. I had this. I think it's
27,432.
Mm-hmm.
And our current clerk of court budget is at 22 something, but included in that is 2,500 for indigent defense and 1,700 for public administrator, which are not clerk of court services, but there's something that's ran through there. In fact, the public administrator, that is going to be going away. The state is going to be reimbursing the counties for that. We signed a 2-year joint powers agreement to put 10% of a mill. So we put 1,700 away for 2 years, and then the state reimburses. So that's going to be going away. It's not a clerk of court service, but for whatever reason, it's in that budget. And also the indigent defense, that is for mental health cases or juvenile cases. That's also how we pay. It's not a clerk of court service, but again, that's pushed through there. So if you took those two out, and then the contract is, $2,078 per month for.
But part of that's for supplies, isn't it?
$2,078 per month is for funding for personnel,
Right.
and $208 per month is for expenses.
278 times 12. So there's $25,000 basically that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's 24, something. 24,936. And I think it's at 17,793.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of room. There's about $1,400 left from the salary portion of that, because the salary in the district court is $17,793.75, but that doesn't include the 15.5% for retirement. It doesn't include the FICA and all the rest of it for about 18%. So
But those you would have to split in half, won't you? Because the other part of my salary is paid.
no, but I'm just using the $17,000.
Okay.
So if you use a percentage, so you take the 17,793 times 33%, and you come up with 23,665. So you take that from the 25,000. There's about $1,400 left in the money we get from the state that could go towards that salary without affecting the budget. And then if you back it up, then the $1,400, the 67%, 67% times 1,400. So actual hard dollars to go towards the recorders or to go towards clerk of court salary would be $938, and then the balance would pay the FICA taxes and the retirement on it. So that's what's left in the budget. I can't
Half of that would come out of the other office.
No, I was using the $17,000 as the basis. So
Right, but then you would only assign half the cost of the increase in salary to that too.
percentage-wise, if you do a percentage, you can use. I just use percentage, so it doesn't. If you use percentage and use the salary sheet paid, it comes out right.
If you take the 2,700 times 1.33 and half of that.
No, if the employee earns $17,000, and we figure the retirement is 15.5%, then the
No, I already got that.
Okay, I'm missing something.
When you figured the salary increase, you figured it on the whole year.
No, I just figured what was left. Yeah, out of this portion of it, there'd be $938 left.
Right.
Yeah, I just figured what was left out of the state, what the state gives us. And I'll have to admit, I'm not thinking as clearly as I should, and I believe you that you listen to the recording. What amazes me is, aren't those the same recordings that have been lost for the last year, that every time we request those were the ones that were lost and erased, and then all of a sudden they're here? I don't think we had different meetings. And I specifically requested recordings from those dates, and those were missing, and now they're here. I think we got some kind of problem.
Just ask for it, yes.
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but I knew it was going to happen when I wanted to hear that recording. I knew this was going to happen, and I have it on emails requesting those recordings. I have the email return saying they're lost, and now we have them. So now I want all of them.
What I know is that they were deleted. They were not supposed to be kept, and then Cindy kept them for herself. And so then,
Okay, so I want to make a formal request right now that I want all the recordings from November of 2 years ago. And I don't care if she kept them for herself or where they're at. I want them.
well, I got the thing back and there's nothing on there now, so I don't know where they are now. I can request to her to do
Well, then
that,
how did
but
we get this recording?
I didn't give it to her. Did Cindy give that one to you?
I asked for the date, so.
Again,
But yeah, she did have it here. It wasn't here. She brought it from home.
It's not her property.
holy.
Jesus.
I make a motion to take a 10-minute recess.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Yeah, I know I've asked Cindy for a lot of those recordings, and she said they went back at one time 2 years, but then some got erased.
Back to order. Okay. First of all, we need to act on Kelly's request. So,
This one or which one?
well, I don't know, she was covering. So do you have the recording of that meeting?
I do.
Okay,
Yep. I do have that.
okay.
You want it?
You want us to act on this first?
Do you have to? I mean, or I just wanted to.
I don't think so.
I don't know if you.
So you got a little, is there a spiral staircase going to the basement?
Yep.
That's-
In our back recorder's vault, there's a whole vault downstairs where we have records too.
Yeah, it's a 2-story vault. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
I've seen the one in Carrington, but that one is right in the, behind the counter. You can go down,
Okay. Yeah, I was checking out. It's a lot of old stuff down there. At least that's neat.
Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. That looks like a great plan. Okay, on clerk/recorder salary. The proposal that Kelly had brought forward to us is that her salary be increased to the level of the previous clerk/recorder. Do you guys have any desire to listen to that recording yourself before that is done? Or,
I believe that she has a recording. I can't get it over my head that.
I know, well, we'll cover that later.
But I can't get it out of my head that we're taking the evidence off of a recording that doesn't exist. Did you go through the recordings too, or were you just were supplied with this one recording?
Just this one.
And you made that request to who?
Cindy.
And the recording came from where?
Cindy.
Here or at home?
She brought a little zippy thing. I don't know how much was on there. I honestly have no idea how much was on there. I just, that date was on there.
Was there only one file on there?
I just went to that year. I didn't look at anything else. I just looked at.
I know, but you
2000.
plug it in and it tells you there's a list of files on
Yeah,
there.
there's all kinds of things. I just went to 2013 and just, that's all I was looking for. I don't know what was all on there. I just looked at 2013 and.
I'd like to listen. I'd like to listen to the recording before I make my decision. Do you have that file?
Yep.
Do you have that jump drive?
No.
Is it a CD or?
No, I just put it on the computer. So I can put it on the.
So it's just that file, or is it all of them?
No, just that one. Just the date. That's the date I requested because that's the date that I knew that it was up here.
Do you want to put that in form of a motion, John?
No. No, I'll take your word for it. I just wanted it on the record over talking.
So we got room in the budget to do this then?
No. I mean, it's within a couple $1,000s. You didn't put it in your budget, did you?
I had put it in my original budget before staff was cut,
Okay,
and then I took it back out.
okay.
We just treated it as the rest of the budgets were red freeze, and there was no mention of this being a
Right.
probationary.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it once before, but the minutes didn't exist.
We just treated it as we treated everybody else,
Okay.
where all the increases were denied.
No.
Yeah, I agree with the concept of Kelly getting what Jan made, so I will make that motion that we raise Kelly's pay to the equivalent of what Jan had been making.
Been moved by Ron to adjust Kelly's salary to that of the previous clerk/recorder. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Sean. Seconded by Sean. Ron didn't second his own motion. Is there any discussion?
How will we pay for that?
We'll have to amend those two budgets. Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? I'm sure Kelly will help us do that. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. There's only one thing left on the agenda in my mind, and it's not on the agenda, so
Then we better amend the agenda.
I'd move we have the issue of the missing taped minutes to the agenda.
Sean has moved that we add the historical minutes, which we were told were missing, to the agenda. Is there a second to that motion?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Is this Attorney General issue?
Well, it certainly is, but I think we should. I have no idea why we should, but I think we should. I think we should give. we should give a couple days leeway here if we have the minutes returned to us in their entirety. I think we should chalk it up to a mistake. Other than that, this certainly needs to be turned over to the state's attorney and then to the attorney general. We have it on record over and over and over again in these meetings by request that these minutes are missing, and now we have proof that minutes are not missing. And worse than that, they've been taken off the county premises. Almost unforgivable. But even though it was a deliberate act, there's possibly, I don't know what it would be.
I don't know what the motive is, but
Right, but that's what I suggest. If we have these minutes here in Troy's hands by
48 hours.
from 48 hours
Or
in
Monday
their
morning.
entirety. Other than that, I think this needs to be turned over to our state's attorney and dealt with accordingly.
That should be for all audio recordings
All
that she
audio
has in her
recordings.
possession.
Yeah, and I don't think it's excusable to say that I have this one and not that one.
Yeah, just as far back as she's got them.
It's 48 hours is Sunday afternoon, maybe just by Monday morning.
How about by tomorrow night?
Huh?
How about by the end of business today?
But I don't think we can get it done by the end of business today. I
you
mean,
know,
I
you can
kind
walk
of think,
away from there.
yeah, if she's home.
So the request needs to be made through our state's attorney.
Well, I mean, we are. I mean, any citizen can request those minutes. I've requested them. Ron's requested them. We've been told in the meetings that they're not available, but now we know they're available. Yeah, I would say if they're not back in the chairman's hands by Monday morning, we turn it over to the state's attorney.
So we can have Sam call this afternoon.
I would suggest that.
I mean, somebody will have to put this in the form of a motion, I presume, that Samantha contacts Cindy and give her till Monday morning, and if that doesn't happen, that we inform the state's attorney to listen to these minutes and act accordingly.
Just a quick question, would this be, because you guys didn't get the minutes, is that because there wasn't a motion to keep them, that you guys couldn't get them? Because I know that we can't put the minutes onto the website as far back until you guys made the motion to keep them. That's when we can start putting them on the website. Just question.
They were always available. We have many of them on audio, listened to them. When it got closer to the recall and the whole melee that involved, all of a sudden the minutes went missing. And for no reason, they were always kept before. They were just, this is reminiscent of the missing 17 minutes in the Nixon tape, basically. So they, all of a sudden, there was no, they just quit keeping them.
Now they got found.
Yeah. But I would just make a motion to request Cindy return the tapes in their entirety by Monday morning,
If not sooner.
if not sooner.
And that's all of the tapes that she
All of
has in her
them, no.
possession.
We have to assume that we have to assume that they're all in her possession. And any missing tapes will be considered being withheld.
Just Monday, did you say? Just Monday?
By Monday. I mean,
Just
Monday.
Bring them over.
it'll look better if they're here tonight.
Or the state's attorney will be contacted.
Well, let's do something.
It's been moved by John that the ex-auditor be contacted by Samantha, and that all of the meeting minute recordings be requested to be returned to the Griggs County Courthouse by 9 a.m. Monday morning
If not sooner.
or sooner. Is there a second to that motion?
And move the second.
Well, seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move we adjourn.
Been moved by John that we adjourn. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 2:57 p.m. on November 21st, 2014. Next regular meeting will be held on December the 5th, 2014 at 1 p.m. and December 19th, 2014. Well, you want us to commit to a 2-meeting schedule.